Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today I thought I would do something just a little bit different. I know I don't normally do these sorts of videos, but I thought it would be interesting to do maybe a little bit of a vlog because I went to Las Vegas and I have just so much stuff I want to talk about, and also I don't really get a lot of one-on-one time with you guys here on YouTube, so I thought it would be a little bit of change of pace, a little bit different to my normal content. So I'm going to do a little bit of like get ready with me, and then also talk to you guys about my trip, talk to you about like the future of my content, talk to you guys just, like sit down and have a good time. I don't ever get to do this stuff with you guys. So I thought it would be just a little bit more fun, a little different. I'm very good at this. I have never done a video like this before. Normally when I talk to people, there are people listening, and this is now just me talking in my room by myself, getting ready. This is what it looks like before I start a Twitch stream. I've got my makeup strewn up around on my desk, and I got like a huge ass mess, but it's fine. It's fine this time. So, the reason I went to Las Vegas was because Alex had a work trip thing that he did, and I tagged along. Hooray! The only thing that I didn't have to pay for was the hotel room, was because we shared one. So I had to pay for my flight and all the expenses while we were down there. But, like you don't have to pay for the hotel, and that's pretty nice. We got up around like 6 o'clock on Monday, and we had our flight leaving at 8:50. And we didn't wait that long at the airport. We were only waiting for like 30-40 minutes. We got there like at a pretty good time. TSA didn't actually take a very, very long time, surprisingly. We were also going with 3 of his other work buddies, so we weren't traveling alone. So we get on the airplane very, very early. It was close to being a booked up flight, so I wasn't able to get a window seat. I got an aisle seat. We didn't do the early check-in to get like our first seats anyway, but it's fine, it's fine. So we flew in, and one of the first things people told me about when you go to Vegas is that the weather is so, so different. See, I'm from the Midwest. I'm from an area where the humidity is likely to stay around 90%. And then you go to Nevada, and it's just like, it's like 2%. Not even that. It's middle of the desert, right next to Death Valley. It gets so, so dry. So the first things they told us to do was to bring chapstick and try to stay hydrated, because you can get dehydrated so quick. Whenever you get get kind of sweaty in a humid area, you feel it, like the sweat doesn't evaporate. But over there, it evaporates like very, very quickly, and I just fucked up. I was gonna do my foundation before. This is why I don't do these videos. So it's important to stay hydrated there. Long short of it, yeah, just drink your water, because you won't feel it as much as you feel it while you are in a humid state. So going somewhere that was really dry, it absolutely did catch me out one time. So the flight was pretty uneventful. Didn't really do much there. It was only a almost 3-hour flight, so we weren't flying for that very long. And we get there, and one of the weirdest things to me, I guess I should have seen this coming, but I really didn't even think about it. You get there, and you step out of the gate, and you go towards like the main lobby area, and there's just like slots in the airport, and there was a ton of people playing the slots. I guess I should have known that, because it's like Vegas or whatever, it's like the Sin City, but it really did throw me off a little bit. It was pretty funny. And we step out of the airport, and it's immediately just so much warmer, but in the shade it's like 20 degrees cooler. I guess that really is just a trait of places that don't have a lot of humidity, is that it doesn't get very hot in the shade, which was kind of weird. We take an Uber out to the hotel. We stand at Mandalay Bay, whatever bay, I can't remember off the top of my head. It actually is one of the biggest hotels that they have there. It's got a lot of rooms, and it actually has like this 5-pool beach that you can go and like relax in, but it's like sort of open to the public, and that you have to pay to get in, but you don't actually have to stay at the hotel to have access to it, which I was kind of really disappointed by, because it's so packed. There was only one day that I actually went to the pool because it actually was a little bit cooler outside and I wanted to go swimming when it was hot. But the day that I went to go swimming, it was so packed. You can pay to actually get a chair that's closer to the water because of how packed it is. And I was considering it. I was really, really considering it. I'm pretty sure the price for the chairs was $75. $75 to rent chairs close to the pool. It's just because there were so many people there. So I actually didn't even end up staying that long because, like I said, I was on this trip for like Alex's work thing. He had to attend some seminars during the day. So I was just free to do whatever I wanted during the day. And I wanted to go relax at the beach, I wanted to get like some sunbathing. As you can tell, I didn't really sunbathe that much. There was no seating. The one chair I was able to nab was when somebody had just left and it was right next to like a whole bunch of people. There was, how sometimes people will sit and then they will leave a chair between groups of people? There were no chairs between groups of people. So I did that and I went back up to my hotel room and I was just going to wait for Alex because it was only like a couple hours. I didn't tend to do too much during the day. Mostly because there really wasn't anything I wanted to do by myself. All the stuff that was down there was just more fun as a group activity. I think there was a free place to visit called the Pinball Museum, but it looked really shady and not at all very fun, so I didn't even do that. Plus, I'm just a girl. What would happen if I got kidnapped? I'm not getting kidnapped in Vegas. That sounds like a bad time. The first day we were there, we ate at one of the restaurants that was inside of the hotel, which is a mistake because they're so overpriced. Honestly, all the food in Vegas is pretty expensive, right? It's just more pricey there. It's just a lot of people, a lot of stuff. People visiting as a tourist thing. So the food was extraordinarily mid. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't good. See, the way to eat food in Vegas that I found out the very last day I was there is to not really search up locations. What the best thing to do is just like walk down the streets or walk down a strip and just find a good place to eat. Because we made this mistake multiple times. Whenever we were to go out to eat, we were trying to find places on Google Maps and we just kept finding like regular old diners. And everybody always tells us how good the food is in Vegas, but it's not that easy to find. At least I had troubles, By the way, if you were looking for a makeup tutorial, you're in the wrong place. So the first day, we went and saw a Cirque du Soleil. We went and saw a show. And what I was expecting is, like circus performing acts and stuff. I didn't get involved in the booking of some things. The show itself, I didn't realize was 21 plus. Like there was no kids allowed. It was the Cirque du Soleil Big Apple show, I think it was called, 21 plus. It was a shocker to me when they started making penis jokes, but it was actually kind of refreshing because there are a lot of shows out there like that are catered to kids, but I guess I should have guessed that in Vegas it wouldn't be. But it was a great time. It was really fun. They had some really good acts. They had a comedian there as well. They did have some people doing some acrobatic stuff. There was this one guy who was swinging this girl around, and at one part of the show, he did a blindfold, and he was just throwing her up in the air and catching her, and it was pretty sick. So that was really all we did the first day because there was a 2-hour time difference between Vegas and where I live. So by 10 o'clock, I was getting a little tired. I was getting a little sleepy. I am a night owl, so when I go to bed, I tend to go to bed around like 1 to 2 a.m. And recently, it's actually been a little bit earlier than that just because. So I was getting tired, and the people that I went with, they're adults, man. They're a little bit older than me, and they also have an 8 to 5 job. So they were exhausted. So we didn't end up actually doing anything else. We went back to our hotel room and we went to sleep, man. There was a lot of stuff we had done that day. We had gotten up very early. And I'm sorry, I know you're wasting a night in Vegas like that, but man, we were so tired. So we got back to the hotel, and I think I forgot to mention that there are casinos everywhere. There is a casino in every hotel. There's a casino on every corner. You know how they say there's a Starbucks in every corner? Well, there's a casino in every corner in Vegas. So we get back to the hotel, and I'm thinking, oh man, it's a Monday. It's not going to be that bad. It's not going to be that busy. No, there are people there every single day of the week. Anytime you go in there, there's always just like tons of people just playing slots. And these slots, I'm gonna be real, they resemble an adult version of Cocomelon. You guys ever see those mobile ads where they've got like just bright flashing colors and tons of puzzles and tons of stuff to try to keep you entranced? Yeah, that's like what slots are now. Also, another thing about the casino that I thought was like really weird and interesting is that they pump in this smell, like this perfume in the area. It's barely noticeable, but it sort of smells like coffee mixed with mint, mixed with vanilla. And what it does is it masks the smell of like cigarette and cigar smoke because you can smoke indoors there. And it might just be part of the whole psychoanalytic thing that they do to make it so you just kind of spend a lot of time at the casino. It smelled like, the long and short of it is that it smelled really nice inside. And if somebody was smoking, you wouldn't really know it unless they were sitting like 1 foot away from you. It was very, very strange. The next day, we were pretty tired, so we didn't actually have anything planned for the second day, but we were traveling with somebody who had been to Vegas before, and he said, oh, guys, I know a place. But he was asking us if we actually drank a little bit, because, we haven't really hung out before. It was one of Alex's coworkers. And he said, well, when you go here, you have to drink a little bit because it sort of masks the shittiness. I haven't done a cut crease in a while. I still got it, baby. So we go to this one street, I believe is called Fremont. I could be wrong. I don't actually remember. We go there and there's this giant LED screen above you and it covers the entire street. The entire street. It was really weird to see. And on that street, they have just tons of street performers. They had like Spider-Man doing breakdance. They had a bunch of showgirls dressed up. They had a bunch of showboys dressed up. And they were just taking pictures with people. There was this one guy in this white dress who he had filled out that white dress with some tissues in some areas. And he was just, he was getting it. He was dancing. It was a lot of loud music there. There was also a lot of live music. But I think one of the experiences that is just burned into my memory is that this guy, he was dancing, and it was a little bit of a raunchy dance. It's in Vegas. That's what they want. They want to get your attention, so you'll give them money. This one lady goes up to dance with him, but this one lady was not by herself. She was with like another adult, and then also like her kid was there. So she goes up to dance with this guy and she's getting it. She's like twerking on him. And then this kid is just standing there like, Mom. It was incredibly traumatizing for him. And you know what? I think it was incredibly traumatizing for me as well. It was weird. But you know what? They were having fun. I think one of the worst things about Vegas was the surprising amount of kids that were there. Like you couldn't find a babysitter for the night. I swear to God, half the people were just people who actually lived in Vegas. But you can't just have somebody watch your kids for one night. You got to take them onto the Strip. The Strip is not like a kid-friendly place whatsoever. There are bars that are just serving you right off the street. They have those mix machines where it's like a slushie, like a margarita, and you can just buy them right off the Strip. When I was there, I only ever bought like 2 drinks off the side, and one because they were hella expensive. I think I spent $30 for a drink that was like this big, this wide, and half of it was vodka. I didn't even end up finishing it because like I was just drinking it so fast. And there was not a lot of public bathrooms. There was not a lot of public bathrooms unless you went inside the casino, and some of the casinos were kind of nasty, so I didn't really want to do that. There was a lot of live music as well, so it was really fun to just drink and then hang out and watch the live performers. It was really fun, and it was also really shocking to see the amount of just older people, like 70s, 80s people who were already drunk by 9 p.m. and they were dancing. They were dancing their little hearts out. It was pretty fun to see. I guess once you hit retirement age, you really don't give a shit, do you? That was only the second night that we actually went and did that, so I was still a little bit tired. We ended up going back, I think, at 11, so we did make it out a little bit further than that. I think they had a little bit extra energy because they were drinking as well. But you know, at some point you just kind of hit the wall and you have to go to bed. Towards the end of the night, there was definitely a lot more people. I enjoy seeing people do weird shit. One of the days we went there as well, we wanted to try In-N-Out because everybody always tells me that that place is really good and they have really good burgers and oh my god, it's so delicious. It's so much better than anything anybody else has anywhere else. I did not like it. In-N-Out was just not very good. Like, it's a fast food place, right? I'm not asking for gourmet burgers. Like, the burgers herself were kind of dry. The sauce they put on it was pretty good. And we got, like, the side of animal fries because we asked the cashier if they had them, and they said, oh, it was a secret menu option. But I saw at least 5 other people walking around with it on their tray, so really it wasn't that much of a secret. And we sit down to eat them, and I like to make sure my burgers are in order. You know, I'm always, like, looking inside, peering to see what's in there. You know, it's an unfamiliar food. I gotta check it out. And then they give you a whole ring of onions. I'm pretty sure it's grilled for like a half a second, but it's just like a whole ring of onion on there. So I like take out some of the onions. You know, I like onion, but I don't like it that much. And then I also discover that my tomato slice on there was frozen. It was just fucking frozen. I don't know if it was supposed to be like that. I don't know if it's like that everywhere, but man, it was just like eating a tomato popsicle. So I bite into it. The patty is dry. The buns are slightly over toasted. There's too much onion. The tomato is frozen. It's just not a good experience. I would have to rate In-N-Out at a very, very low amount on the scales of burgers from fast food places. I don't really get the hype. Maybe you guys just don't have anything better out there on the West Coast, but man, I'm telling you, the best burger place that I've ever been to is still Culver's. They are really, really delicious. Really, really highly recommend. So like I said, on another day, I don't end up doing too much by myself. I usually just kind of look up stuff for us to do during the rest of the day. We had that first day scheduled out, but the rest of the time was ours to spend how we wanted. So we actually went to a place called Area 15 and to see a very specific exhibit called Omega Mart. It was done by the company Meow Wolf, which made this art installation, and it's really, really big. You don't think it's big when you look at it from the outside, but then you get on the inside, and it's just tons of stuff. But then it's supposed to be like, you go through like a portal in the back. There's multiple different ways to actually get in. Then you get to the back, and it's just a bunch of different rooms of just like cool art exhibits. There's a room where there's just a bunch of lasers in there, and you put your hand in front of the laser, and it makes a cool sound. Or like this room that's supposed to be like an alien headquarters kind of laboratory. You know what? I don't know. There's like lore behind it as well, but you can spend hours there and still not figure out all the kind of stuff they have. But it was a really fun experience. I had a really good time. Funny enough, whenever we were walking in, one of the guys that worked there, one of the security guards was like, hey man, I hope you took shrooms before you came in. I was like, still pretty fun. It was more like an art exhibit, museum slash thing. They did have interactables and also a little bar that you could go to and have like one of their specialty drinks, which we did end up doing. One of the last nights we were there, we actually ended up visiting the location of the Hell's Kitchen that was there in Las Vegas. It was pretty interesting, pretty fun. It was a sort of a last-second decision, so we were slightly underdressed. Unfortunately, Gordon Ramsay was not there. They weren't really doing any filming. There was no yelling to be had. But I will say, the food there is so very good. It's so good. It's actually exactly what you would want, what you would expect a good restaurant like that to have. Of course, the prices were a little bit expensive. I think what Alex ordered, he ordered something that was like the experience where it had the appetizer, the main course, and then a dessert, and it ended up being a little bit over $100 just for that. I ordered a braised short rib, which is like a braised short rib, and it came on this little potato patty with some French onions on top. It was so very good. It was so delicious. One of the funnier things that you experienced there was that you could definitely see a couple people who were there with some escorts. Sightseeing just the people was definitely one of my favorite things to do in Vegas. It was very interesting. We ended up getting the dessert, which I think was toffee pudding, and it was so very good. What ended up happening is that it was the 4 of us that went there, me, Alex, and 2 of his coworkers, and what we were going to do was we were just going to get 2 desserts for the table, so that way, we could like split them because, it was a lot of food. We were full. And the dessert itself was pretty big. And what the waiter ended up doing actually was he brought us a free dessert, but he only brought it for me. He only brought us 3 desserts. I don't know why. I think it was very obvious that I'm the kind of bitch who enjoys a really good dessert. And he said that this is the kind of dessert that you don't want to share. And I was kind of up for it, but I only ended up eating about half. So I guess I didn't really need the extra dessert after all. That dessert was just immaculate. It was delicious. I actually couldn't believe that the food there was that good. 10 out of 10 experience. If anybody is really thinking about going to Hell's Kitchen, you think the food is not going to be that good? You think it's going to be a gimmick? Nah, dude, it was just so delicious. The rest of the time we ended up spending in Vegas, we didn't really plan out. The last day we were there, we actually ended up just getting out early from Alex's seminar thing, and we just went walking down like just everywhere. We walked past Caesar's Palace. They have a little bit of a water show that you can watch as well, where they just shoot up jets of water. It was a little interesting, not really that great. We also stopped at this Coca-Cola store where they sell a bunch of Coca-Cola merch, but one of my favorite things that they had there was that you can go upstairs and get a flight of the different kinds of sodas that Coca-Cola serves around the world. There was tons and tons of different ones, but there was one that really stuck out to me, and they served it at Disney, I think in Florida, where it's an Italian drink called Beverly. They did say that it was a little bit gross, and I was like, what, I'm gonna keep an open mind. I tend to like some foods that aren't American, but I go to try this drink. It was number 1 on the flight, by the way. There was about 16, I don't remember how many drinks, it was like, I don't know, 20, 16 different drinks. It was the very first one, and by God, it's so bad. It straight up tastes like the feeling you get when you are about to throw up. It tastes like bile. And I try to keep an open mind, but man, I could not keep an open mind about that. There was also another drink on there, I think it was from China, but it tasted like straight barbecue sauce. Like if you were making barbecue sauce into a soda, that is exactly how it tasted. Exactly. There were also a couple good ones. I don't exactly remember the name of them, but half of them are good, half of them were just kind of mid, but those 2 really stuck out to me because they were so bad. And for that night, to actually get dinner, we ended up just walking into like a food court that was right off the street. And like I said, sometimes you can't even find these places on Google Maps. We just went in and they were serving burrito tacos. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but they were delicious. Like the best food that you can get is just the food that you find right off the street. Don't eat at the places in the hotel. They're incredibly overpriced for just very, very basic food. I didn't end up doing any gambling while I was there. I didn't really have any interest in doing so. Maybe I was thinking about it, just testing my luck to see if I could become a billionaire. But I never actually ended up touching a slot machine once. The whole vibe of just being in Vegas was actually incredibly fun because everything there is kind of tacky, but it's fun tacky. There was this hotel you could stay in that was just it was a giant shape of a pyramid. There was also another one that looked like a castle. It really didn't look the best during the day, but during the nighttime, when all the lights are turned on, there's tons of people walking around, there's lots of music being played. It really was a whole thing. It was a whole vibe. It was a really good time. I really did like it. We ended up having a flight that left at about 5 a.m., so we had to wake up at 3. And you know what I said? I'm a little bit of a night owl, and I get really bad insomnia sometimes. If I have even just a little bit of anxiety, it's kind of hard for me to sleep. So I only really got about an hour of sleep that night, which was fine because, we had like a 2-hour flight. We get there and the TSA line is going so incredibly slowly. They closed the line that we were at and just said, fuck you, and didn't actually tell us what to do. So we were just kind of standing there. And the TSA people are very, very strict. You piss one of them off and then suddenly you're just fucking detained. I don't know. Overall, I would rate my experience at Vegas maybe like a 7 out of 10. I didn't actually go to any nightclubs. Like I said, we were there for Alex's work trip, so he couldn't really stay out that late. Granted, I don't know if I ever even wanted to because, it's just the 2-hour time difference really does kick your ass. But good news is the hotel that I stayed in actually offered a service of a hydrating IV drip. So if you're hungover, you could go and just get an IV drip that just hydrates you so you're not hungover anymore. Oh my god, I'm actually so bad at this. I'll do good eyeshadow that'll just completely ruin it whenever I try to do my eyeliner. Oh yeah. Snatched. Look at that. I would absolutely go back to Vegas, I think. It was a really good time, and I do think you need to go with at least one other person. I think a group of people that you can hang out with, maybe get a little bit of drinks. But also just really, it was a really, really good time to just have a break from doing like content creation and constant streaming. I know I don't post too much here on YouTube, but Twitch streaming actually takes so much of your time. I think that really shows the unspoken heroicness of all of those content creators who do Twitch and YouTube. Those guys are really killing it, man. They are taking the definition of full-time content creator to the next level. And you know what? I'd like to be like them someday, but maybe when I'm fully grown. That was also just something that I wanted to like talk about and discuss, was just the future of content creation for me. Not gonna lie, only really playing Dead by Daylight kind of takes a toll on you. As much as I still enjoy playing the game, it's kind of heading in this weird direction where it feels like they're just trying to remove any facet of like skill and just make almost every game the same every single time. So really, it's not as fun as it once was. I know that if you guys were here back in the very, very beginning of when I started my channel, you could see that the only kind of killer I really played was Huntress. And playing Huntress nowadays is not really that great. I kind of attribute it to the beginning of map reworks. Back then, loading into maps like Blood Lodge was just incredibly fun because there was just nothing. There was no line of sight blockers. You could snipe somebody from all the way across the map. There was no fog of war that they keep adding to newer maps. And there's just so much more stuff. I don't play Dead by Daylight in any sort of like immersed way. I kind of just love the chasing mechanic part of it. But now I'm kind of sort of forced to enjoy different aspects of DBD. And you know, I still do enjoy them. I know if you guys have been watching my Twitch stuff, you've seen me get into competitive Dead by Daylight, which is, you know, cringe, but I really do enjoy it. I'm a competitive person by nature anyway. I like winning games, but that's just kind of shifted my focus and the way that I see Dead by Daylight. So really, I don't put out as many YouTube videos that are just like fun, different builds. I do find fun in playing CompDBD because I've played the game for over 7,000 hours, getting close to 8, and it's just not as fun playing against lower level people. I know a lot of people will say that CompDBD is kind of cringy, but it does give me a way to play the game where I don't have to sweat against people in public games. I also know I do the spear win streak, but I'm gonna be honest, that kind of thing is not very hard to do. Realistically, you could do a win streak on any killer. All you really need to do is play slightly smart, and the average survivors are just going to crumble. Even those toxic 4-man swifts that people, you know, encounter every single game, but you just wouldn't understand because you're a content creator. So that's been what I've been doing with Dead by Daylight recently. I'm not really sure how long I can keep it going for. Comp Dead by Daylight is also just incredibly hard to get into because it's been like the same 50 motherfuckers since the beginning of the game that just have continuously played for hours upon hours, and it's so hard to catch up. Their meta is always evolving, it's always changing, you know, perks changes, new maps, new killers, meta changes, all that kind of stuff, and they're just so on top of it. It's really, really difficult to even try to get ahead. And personally, I would say that I feel like I have made good progress, but I'm definitely not as close to being a top tier player as I would have liked to be. But it's just so incredibly hard, and these people who have been doing it make content out of it. They make Twitch streams, they make YouTube videos, and they get paid for doing it, for being top players, and they just have that amount of time to dedicate into doing it. And not a lot of other people really have that kind of time. I can guarantee you, if you are somebody who works a regular 8 to 5 job, you're probably just ineligible to be considered one of the top players. You will see a lot of like older comp players actually drop out because they actually get a life. So like, I'm in a special circumstance where I can dedicate some time to being a competitive player. If I actually was a top player already, I bet I could actually maintain something like that. But as it stands right now, it's just really difficult to break the mold of people who have been playing since the beginning and continuously play. I would like to say that I have made good progress. I want to brag or anything. I do want to stay humble. So I'm not really sure how much time I actually want to dedicate to continuously do competitive Dead by Daylight. I really am just doing it for fun at this point. I practice when I can, I play when I can, but I'm not making it a priority, especially because in CompDBD, there's not really a huge reward. There are some tourneys that offer a couple $1,000s as a winnings, but you know, in other esports tournaments, they offer tons more. It's way more viable to be a competitive player for games such as like Fortnite or World of Warcraft, I think, CSGO. Not a whole lot to offer in CompDBD. This is kind of just the point where I tell you guys that I'm trying to hopefully branch out with content creation. And you can tell, especially with this video, this is definitely not something that I'm used to doing. I am not incredibly good at it, as you can see. Maybe more games, maybe a focus bigger on YouTube. I think YouTube is just way more consistent for content creators. I know that I was streaming for Twitch for like 2 years before I could even get anything going with my channel because it's so hard to even grow just doing Twitch. And when I eventually did grow, it's because I started posting videos to YouTube. Maybe I can attribute a little bit of my growth to TikTok, but I just cannot stay on top of that website. Maybe it'll get banned in the US and I actually will have an excuse. I just can't do it. I will say, to grow as a content creator, I believe you do need to do YouTube. You just don't have a choice. Got these new eyelashes? I'm really bad at doing them, so I'm gonna try my best, but you know, no promises. I'm not entirely sure what direction I'm going to be taking with Dead by Daylight. I'm probably still going to be streaming it, let's be real. But I was kind of hoping I could do more variety content over on Twitch and maybe make YouTube videos out of it. Or I could just, you know, make more YouTube videos. YouTube is definitely, I think, the spot where I really thought I would be, you know, making content. I really never pictured myself as a Twitch streamer. Growing up, you know, I was one of those kids who watched YouTube videos and I really wanted to do that. And I am in a position to do it, but at the same time that Twitch is time consuming, it's also just way easier. It's super easy to just hop onto Twitch and just stream the same stuff that I have been doing since the beginning of, you know, my channel. It's really easy to fall into the lull of just getting on and playing games and hanging out. And I do love doing that. But it also gets to a point where your channel doesn't really grow from just doing Twitch stuff. Unless you have like this huge gimmick that you do. So I'm not really sure what direction I will be heading, but no, I'm heading in directions. Dead by Daylight will always hold a special place in my heart because, you know, at the end of the day, I do love the game. I do love playing it. I do love the people I interact with, the community that I've sort of built. You guys are the best, and I really do enjoy still playing Dead by Daylight, but at this point in time, I don't really know what direction that it's heading. I don't really know like what I want to do. We will just have to see where the future takes me, takes us. I can do this. I actually really hate how nice eyelashes look because I just cannot function without them now. So yeah, that was actually quite a long update on just what I've been thinking, my trip to Vegas, which was really fun. I'm not really sure the direction of my YouTube channel will be going, but I do want to create different content. I do want to branch out just a little bit more because I want to do this for fun. And right now I'm just kind of stuck in this rut where I'm not entirely sure what to do. Maybe I'll continue to do more videos like this. I hope you guys did really enjoy this. Let me know in the comments below if you enjoyed hanging out with me like this. I could do more of these videos in the future. I do have quite a few stories to tell that I think would be really interesting. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this different form of content for me. I hope to see you all in the next video. Come hang out on my Twitch channel. Come on out and say hi. Smash that like button, subscribe, do all that cool YouTuber shit. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!